Got to be careful about bombing the allies. You know, if you're going to bomb an ally, you have to be very careful before you bomb an ally. You know, Israel, that's, you know, something that they have to understand.
Well, it's the smart thing to do is to put out a cover story about how you didn't know anything about it. That's what you have to do if you're going to bomb an ally. You got to plant in the media that you're very angry at the people who did it.
Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show, everyone. Keaton and Russell from Due Dissidents in for Jimmy while he is on the road. So this is a bit of a mysterious story here. At first, I thought, oh, what else is new? Trump got caught in another lie. But it turns out I don't think it's that simple. I think there might be more to this than meets the eye or that meets the page, if you will. So Axios just came out with this today's scoop. Netanyahu spoke to Trump before Israel bombed Qatar. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu informed President Trump last Tuesday morning that Israel planned to attack Hamas leaders in Qatar shortly before the strike took place. 3 Israeli officials with direct knowledge tell Axios. The White House has claimed it was notified only after missiles were in the air, giving Trump no opportunity to oppose the strike. 7 Israeli officials tell Axios the White House knew earlier, even if the timeline to stop it would have been tight. Asked Tuesday evening whether he was notified in advance by Israel, Trump claimed he was not. He has publicly expressed disapproval over the attack because Qatar is a key U.S. ally, just not as key as Israel. You're key, but you're not that key. Israel's a little more key than you, unfortunately. You need a little more key in that key. As President Trump stated, the U.S. military informed him of Israel's attack on Hamas leaders in Doha, and he immediately directed his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, to inform Qatar. Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt told Axios. The version of events U.S. officials laid out last week was that the U.S. military saw Israeli jets in the air and sought an explanation from Israel, which did not arrive until airborne ballistic missiles were flying toward the Hamas compound in Doha. The White House said Witkoff rushed to warn the Qataris, but by then the missiles had already struck. Media outlets, including Axios, reported that Trump had not been consulted. Bombing a U.S. ally without consulting Washington would be an incredibly audacious move by Israel, which that's not like them. That's out of character. They tend to be very shy, particularly since the Hamas leadership had been gathering, yes, of course, to discuss Trump's latest Gaza peace proposal. Yes, they were literally meeting to try and broker a peace deal. In theory. According to the Israeli officials, Netanyahu did inform the White House very late in the game, but it was early enough that the strike still could have been called off. So, yes, let's remember what Carolyn Leavitt had to say about this. The president views Qatar as a strong ally and friend to the United States and feels very badly about the location of the attack.
Administration was notified by the United States military that as Israel was attacking Hamas, which very unfortunately was located in a section of Doha, the capital of Qatar. Unilaterally bombing inside Qatar, a sovereign nation and close ally of the United States that is working very hard and bravely taking risks with us to broker peace, does not advance Israel or America's goals. However, eliminating Hamas, who have profited off the misery of those living in Gaza, is a worthy goal. President Trump immediately directed Special Envoy Witkoff to inform the Qataris of the impending attack, which he did. The president views Qatar as a strong ally and friend of the United States and feels very badly about the location of this attack. President Trump wants all of the hostages in Gaza and the bodies of the dead released, and this war to end now. President Trump also spoke to Prime Minister Netanyahu after the attack. The Prime Minister told President Trump that he wants to make peace, and quickly. President Trump believes this unfortunate incident could serve as an opportunity for peace. The president also spoke to the Emir and Prime Minister of Qatar and thanked them for their support and friendship to our country. He assured them that such a thing will not happen again on their soil.
Okay, so she's saying that they spoke after. Go ahead.
Why does everyone with a nose job go with the Michael Jackson? Aren't there other options in the binder that you can go with?
That's popular.
Everyone goes for the MJ look.
He set a trend. What can I tell you? He was an influential man. The three Israeli officials told Axios Netanyahu called Trump about the impending strike around 8 a.m. D.C. time. The first reports of explosions in Doha came at 8:51, so that would have given Trump almost a full hour to tell Netanyahu to call it off, which you have to assume it could have come together in that time. Quote, Trump knew about the strike before the missiles were launched. First, there was a discussion on the political level between Netanyahu and Trump, and afterwards through military channels. Trump didn't say no, a senior Israeli official claimed. Okay, see, that is where it takes a Jew to know a Jew. Okay, that sounds like a... forgive the crudeness, but that sounds like a very Jewy explanation. He could have said no. He didn't say no, so I figured we'd go ahead. See, that... I at first I thought this was just a story about, okay, Trump lied and said they didn't warn him. Now, when they say that Trump didn't say no, what that tells me is they timed it so close to when it was already striking that, yeah, in theory, maybe Trump could have told them no and could have stopped it, but the wheels were already in motion. To me, that strikes me as them trying to have it both ways, which, again, I come from a long line of people who are good at moves like that. That's, hey, I got to be at the airport in 2 hours. You could take me or you could drop me at the train station. Either one, you could. I don't know. Maybe you drop me off. Maybe you drive me all the way. You might hit some traffic. Then again, fine, I'll take the bus. You want me to take the bus? Drop me at the bus station. It's up to you.
We have very sophisticated weapons these days. Even once the missile's been fired, we could bring it back. All he had to do was call. He didn't call. I was sitting by my phone. I was waiting.
He didn't say no. Hey, look, we could have said no. We would have called it off. He didn't say anything. So we bombed the peace negotiations.
He hates the Qataris. They cheated cards. That's what he told me. They cheated cards.
Yeah, that line is what made me think, okay, this is more interesting than I thought. A second senior Israeli official said the U.S. was notified well in advance on a political level. If Trump had wanted to stop it, he could have. In practice, he didn't. Both officials said the missiles had not yet been fired when Trump and Netanyahu spoke, and claimed Israel would have called off the strike if Trump had objected to it. It's again, hey, I would have picked up the check. You reached for it. I was going to treat. It was going to be on me. You read it. What do you want me to do? The White House did not address specific questions about the timeline. The Israeli Prime Minister's office declined to comment. The Israeli officials did not provide a detailed description of the Trump-Netanyahu call, whether, for example, Netanyahu simply told Trump of Israel's plans or explicitly sought his permission. It's also unclear whether Trump immediately altered the relevant immediately alerted the relevant officials, some of whom were furious with Netanyahu in the aftermath of the strike. Netanyahu has said multiple times that the attack was a unilateral Israeli move, including at a press conference on Monday alongside Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Rubio will travel to Doha on Tuesday, that's today, or that is tomorrow rather, for talks with Qatari officials. A third Israeli official concurred that Israel had alerted the Trump administration in advance, but said Israel had decided to go along with the White House denials of prior knowledge. See, so the stories are all over the place here. On our side, it was decided to help them with that for the sake of the U.S.-Israeli relationship, the official said. The Americans are putting on a show. We updated them about the attack, a fourth Israeli official said. A fifth Israeli official said the Trump administration had clear reasons to distance itself from the strike. What they say publicly should be taken with a grain of salt. A sixth Israeli official, this is like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs here, a sixth Israeli official, Sleepy, said that it isn't the first time that the Trump administration made things up about their conversations with Israel due to political considerations. So here is Trump questioned about this yesterday. What is your message to Netanyahu about strikes on Qatar? They have to be very careful. Qatar is a great ally.
What was your message to Benjamin Netanyahu about strikes on Qatar? It was reportedly
well, my message is this. They have to be very, very careful. They have to do something about Hamas. But Qatar has been...
Yeah, it's such duplicitous frame. It was a peace negotiation. The Hamas leadership who were there, they were not combatants who were there to blow people's heads off. It was a peace negotiation. They were there for talks. It's a centuries old custom. You don't attack the peace negotiation.
A great ally to the United States. A lot of people don't know that. I told the Emir, who I think is a wonderful person, actually, I said, you need better public relations.
Oh, they need better public relations. Qatar. You need better public relations. You got to take those towels off the heads there. People don't like that. People are very afraid. See, the Americans, they don't understand. When they see a towel on your head, they think you're a terrorist. They don't understand you're an ally. You need better public relations. Like our friends in Israel, they have the best public relations.
How did you not see this?
Like them.
How did you not see this coming? They don't show Game of Thrones in your country. They call it the Red Wedding. You know it's going to be the Red Wedding?
Ally to the United States. A lot of people don't know that.
People don't know that.
Emir, who I think is a wonderful person. Actually.
Did Netanyahu know that? I think Netanyahu knew that. That's really, I mean, the big question is, did Israel know that? Because they're the ones who bombed them, right? So, I mean, just because everyone in the United States doesn't know that, I think the key question here is, did the Israelis know that?
I said, you need better public relations.
Yeah.
Because you don't really get the public relations. I mean, people talk of it so badly. And they shouldn't be. Qatar's been a very great ally. So Israel and everybody else, we have to be careful. When we attack people, we have to be careful.
Got to be careful about bombing the allies. If you're going to bomb an ally, you have to be very careful before you bomb an ally. Israel, that's, something that they have to understand.
Well, it's the smart thing to do is to put out a cover story about how you didn't know anything about it. That's what you have to do if you're going to bomb an ally. You got to plant in the media that you're very angry at the people who did it.
Right. Yeah. I have to pretend that I had no idea, even though I had, 51 minutes, according to the Israelis. And this is where I say, like, the headline makes it look like a very one-sided story. But the more you read into that, the more you could definitely see the Israelis trying to have it both ways. Right. Yeah. Let's time this exactly so that we make it as difficult as possible to stop the strike, while leaving just enough room where theoretically we could say, hey, if you would have told us no, we would have called it off. That's what seems like it happened. It seems like they timed it exactly to have it both ways. Yeah. And as a guy who has some Bronx Jewish blood in me, I could tell you I do not put that past them for 1 second. So there you have it. That's what I think. What do you think?
Well, yeah, there is a word in Hebrew that translates as establishing facts in the field, which essentially is the same as the English phrase, better to ask forgiveness than permission. This is at the core of their diplomacy style, such as it is, right? Go and you take more land and, we're there now. Yeah, right? They're just constantly trying to make things a fait accompli so that you just have to tolerate it and feign ignorance, and it's complicated and and they did this, and just constantly trying to muddy the waters. But a thing by what it does. Look at what they've done since they got there. You can see the Palestinian land shrink and shrink and shrink. Oh, they just stumbled into taking over more and more land. They just stumbled into a genocide. Oopsie.
Yeah, exactly. No, they reminded me of the story when my dad was hosting some of our extended family, and they went out to breakfast at a diner. The check comes, the check just sits on the table for 22 white-knuckled seconds, where finally, with a bead of sweat dripping off the eyebrow, my father picks it up and pays it. And then when we all got back to the house, like an hour later, the relative says, we would have bought breakfast. We would have paid. What do you mean you would have paid? You would have paid had what? It's like, that's what you do. You wait till the other guy pays. We would have gotten it. We would have gotten it. We just let it sit there for, almost half a minute.
We would have. You needed to let a good 20 minutes go by.
Yeah, right.
We would have gotten it. You picked it up. You grabbed it so fast. I didn't have enough time to say anything.
If we had gotten to 36 seconds, I'd have picked it up. You picked it up at 24. What can I do? If you want it, hey, look, if you wanted me to get breakfast, I'd have gotten it, but you didn't want to. That kind of thing. I think that's what happened there. That's my insight into that episode. All right.
Hey, the cost of everything is still out of control, and many of us are relying on credit cards to cover essentials. If that debt is piling up, you're not alone. Americans collectively owe over $1 trillion in credit card debt. You might have considered reaching out to my friends at American Financing, but hesitated because you don't want to give up your low mortgage rate. Well, there's good news. They've created the Smart Equity Loan. It's a solution designed to help you take control of your finances without touching your current mortgage. Unlike a HELOC, which can have varied interest rates, the Smart Equity Loan offers a fixed rate. That means one predictable monthly payment, giving you peace of mind. This loan allows you to leverage your equity in your home to pay off high-interest debt, free up your cash flow, and keep your existing low mortgage rate intact. It only takes 10 minutes to get started with no upfront or hidden fees. Call American Financing today and start saving now. That's 888-804-0303. That's 888-804-0303. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Jimmy. Come see me on tour in Louisville, Fort Wayne, Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, San Francisco. Go to JimmyDore.com for a link for tickets.